Good morning, all of you. So, as we know that presently we are studying acid, bases, and salts. And last class I have taught you what is the properties of bases, and also we have studied what is the uses of bases. Now, coming to our today's class, we are going to study the strength of an acid and base solutions, means the sense of pH scale. So, as we know, we have discussed, we have a strong acid, we have a strong bases, as well as we have a weak acids, we have a weak bases. So based upon what parameter we are going to discuss, a given solution is a strong or weak. So as we know, acids, what is common in all the acids, Ram? What is common in all the acids? Please speak. What is common in all the acids?
Plus ions.
As well as what is the common in all the bases? Arun Karthikeyan?
OH minus.
Correct. So now based upon that only, we are going to decide the strength of acid and as well as base solutions. That is what we should call it as pH scale. So now let us comes to here. The well-known compound to us is known as water. So what is the chemical formula of water? Can anybody? Water. Chemical formula of water, if you consider here, the chemical formula of water is H2O. So if you consider water is neither belongs to the acidic in nature nor belongs to the base. Is it yes or no? It is not belongs to the acid, not belongs to the base. So why it is called as neither belongs to the acid nor belongs to the base? Because if you observe very carefully, H2O is, when it is dissociates or else ionized, you can say, so it will be slightly ionized into water, both the ions. That is the reason, if you will observe, it will be ionized into what is ions? It will be ionized into H plus ions as well as OH minus ions. That is the reason. So water is slightly dissociates into H plus ions and hydroxide ions are ionized into H plus and OH minus ions. Now, if you observe, in pure water, not impure, pure water, like a distilled water, if you take, pure water means only H2O is present. So if we take the pure water, the concentration of H plus ions, and as well as OH minus ions is same, means equal or varies. OH minus ions are equal. Do you understanding, all of you? So that is what you have to remember. So in pure water, the amount of or the number of H plus ions, which is equals to number of OH minus ions. So due to this only, we should call it as pure water is neither acidic nor basic. It is called as water. It is called as neutral. What we should call? Neutral. Please remember, and you have to respond also. Communication is most important. So why we should not call the water is neither acidic nor basic? Because the concentration of H plus ions and as well as OH ions are
Equal.
That is what it is called as neutral substance. That is why you can say water is called as water. Water is neither acidic, please write it, neither acidic nor basic in nature. Is it clear? Any doubt, anybody? You can ask. Okay. So now that is what you have to remember. First point. Next, before going to start about the acids and bases, I should say anything. So either it is a base or acid, doesn't matter. When they will show the property, anybody? How the acids will show the properties of acids? How the bases will show the acids of bases? Properties of bases. Anybody? When they will show the properties? When they will dissolve in
Water.
That is what you have to remember. Always, all of you should remember, pure water, if you take, acid is in liquid state. If you take base is also in liquid state. So when they are in liquid state, they does not show the properties, does not show their properties. Do you understand, Ira? Does not show their properties, chemical properties. Now, when they will show the properties, only when? Only
Dissolved in water.
they dissolve in water. Dissolve in water. So any substance will dissolve in water. What we should call raw? It is not called as liquid state. What we should call?
Aqueous state.
Aqueous state.
Aqueous
So,
state.
aqueous state. That is what you have to remember. So when acid is dissolved in water, we should call it as acid solution. When base is dissolved in water, we should call it as basic solution. So acidic solution and basic solution only will show the chemical properties of them. So acid and base only they will show their properties when they will dissolve in water. That is what you have to remember, all of you. So always whenever I am saying acid or base, what it is indicating? It is indicating aqueous solution. All of you should remember, means it is dissolved with the water. Now, by remembering that point, now let us discuss the first point which we are going to discuss in our today's class is, if we take acids. So as we know, what is the properties of acids? Can you able to say? Acids produce what? Acids produce what? You have to say acids produce hydrogen ions. Do you understand, Ra? Acids produce hydrogen ions when that is what I want. Hydrogen ions in where?
Dissolved in water.
Water. That is what you have to remember. So acids produce hydrogen ions in water. So you have to remember, when an acid is added to water, then only it will produce the hydrogen ions. That is what. So if you want to produce the hydrogen ions from the acid, it must be added what? Acid must be added to the water. Then what is happening? The concentration of hydrogen ions in water increases or decreases? If you add water to the acid, the concentration of ions in water increases or decreases? Increases. The concentration of acid will decreases, but H plus ions will keep on increasing. Is it yes or no? Please tell me. Last class also I have explained this. Correct or not? So that is what you have to remember. So when we add acid to the water, acid plus water, you can see the concentration of what is happening now. The concentration shortcut also I have told you. The concentration of H plus ions. This is one of the most important MCQ. H plus ions is increases or decreases?
Increases.
Increases. That is what you have to remember. Increases in water. That is what you have to remember. Sir, how, sir? You may remember here. Suppose you can check it. So let me take, as we know, we have to add acid to the water or water to the acid. We always add
Acid to water.
Acid to water. Acid to water. That is also one of the most MCQ question. Why we can't add water to acid? Because at initially acid concentration is more, so it may causes for exothermic reaction. That is why always we guys need to add water. We have to add acid to water. Do you remember, all of you? Acid to water. So when I will add little amount of acid to the water, so that small amount of H plus ions will produce. So that if I am keep on adding the acid to the water, keep on adding to the acid to the water, so that H plus ions will keep on producing. Is it yes or no? Please tell me. Respond. Yes, that is the reason. All of you should remember, when I am keep on adding acid to the water, so H plus ions will keep on producing. So that is why you remember always, acids produce hydrogen ions in water. So if you are adding acid to the water, the concentration of H plus ions, is increases in water. What will happen, Ra? H plus ions will
Increases in water.
but the concentration of acid will what will happen? But concentration of acid will what will happen? But the concentration of acid will decrease. What will happen? The concentration of acid will decrease. All of you, do you remember or not? Please tell me. If you are not understanding, you have to tell me. Now, if you will observe, if you take any kind of acid, it is not only producing H plus ions. So whenever it is producing H plus ions, suppose when I mix acid to the water, as we know, it will produce what? H plus ions in water. So is it only H plus ions will produce? Along with the H plus ions, one more ions also will produce. What is that, Nitinath? If you mix acid to the
Hydronium.
one more
Hydronium.
ion will produce. What is that?
Hydronium.
Hydronium.
Ions, not hydronium. Hydronium or H plus ions both are same. So along with the H plus ions, hydroxide ions also will produce. The solution of acid form more amount of hydrogen ions and less of hydroxide ions. That is what you have to remember it. Please all of you write it. The solution of acid. The solution of acid means which state? Liquid state or aqueous state? All of you should respond. Liquid state or aqueous state? The solution. You understand?
Aqueous state.
Until if you are not responding, you will never remember. So the solution of acid will have more amount of H plus ions. More amount of H plus ions. But also it will from what? But less of water, less of hydroxide ions. Please all of you should remember. So hydroxide ions means OH minus ion. So here is the question. So as we know that if I will mix, if acid is mixed with the water, who is producing H plus ions? H plus ions is produced by acid. Is it yes or no? So more H plus ions will produce. H plus ions also we can call it as another name called as what?
Hydronium ion.
Hydronium ions. What is that ion's name? H3O plus, correct? Is it correct?
plus.
H3O plus. Is it correct? Yes, hydronium ions are H plus ions. Now, it is mixing with the water. So, as we know, at first point we have studied in our today's class. What is the first point? Water will form water. Water will form what? Both the ions. What is that ions? The concentration of H plus ions and as well as OH ions is
OH
equal.
minus.
So when an acid is mixed with the water, acid will produce H plus ions plus H3O or hydronium ions, but the water will also produce water also will slightly diffuse into H plus ions and as well as water OH
minus ions.
That is why you remember whenever an acid is mixed with the water, not only it contains H plus ions, also it contains what? Also it contains OH minus ions. But whose concentration is more? H plus ions. Concentration is more and the OH minus ion concentration is less. That is what you have to remember, all of you. So from this I can conclude one point. So when till now we have studied acidic solution means only H plus ions, but now our definition it changes. Can anybody say, Dina? From now I can say acidic solution means what? More amount of humra. Yalni, Varshini, can you more amount of H plus ions.
H plus ion.
Less amount of OH minus ions.
That is what you have to remember. So from this I can write all of you. Acidic solution. Acidic solution means what it is? Tarani, aqueous solution or normal liquid solution, liquid state?
Aqueous state.
Aqueous solution. That is what? Very clear. Everything is MCQ. Acidic solution, right? Acidic solutions have excess of which ions are? Which ions? Hydrogen. Understand? Hydrogen ions. Understand all of you? That is what you have to remember. So Everybody must remember this. So all the acidic acids, acidic solutions having which who is excess? Hydrogen ions is in excess and they have little amount of OH minus ions also. Hydrogen ions also we can call it as what? Hydronium ions. What is called as? Hydronium ions. All of you should remember H plus or we should call it as H3O plus.
CO plus.
3O plus.
Here any doubt till here anybody you can ask me. Call to absent is still so many are there. Again they will miss. Make a call. Karthikeyan, understand Karthikeyan? Dilipan? Yes. Respond. That is. Now, from here I will say one note. All of you write the note. This is the most important thing. Note. Yalamati, are you understand Yalamati? Jesse?
Yes, sir.
Jesse, call
Yes,
to
sir.
Pranita. Pranita is not joined. Are call to Kevin also. Kevin is not joined. Now, note all of you, please remember. So, if you observe, the acidic solutions contains what ions? Hydroxide ions, which come from where? Which come from where? Ionization of acidic solution also contains hydroxide ions, OH minus. Where they are coming from? Arvind will say. Arvind, where they are coming from? Arvind, Arun Karthikeyan. They are coming from where? Ionization of what? I said at starting. What is that? Ionization of?
What? Water.
Ionization of water. That is what you have to remember. That is what you have to keep it in a note, all of you. Right. Acidic solutions. Acidic solutions. Ashika is also there. Ashika, are you there in meeting? Acidic solutions also contains hydroxide ions. Hydroxide ions, which comes from where, Anitanath? Yali?
Ionization of water.
Huh?
Ionization water.
Ionization of water.
Ionization or dissociation, you can call it anything, which comes from the ionization of water. Ionization of water. But the concentration of hydroxide ions, the concentration of OH minus ions is much less than that of water.
H plus ions.
Than
Plus ions.
Plus ions.
ions. Please write it. Than that of H plus ions. That's all. So very, very important. So they will ask you MCQ question. Who is forming OH minus ions in acidic solution? Who is forming OH minus ions in acidic solution? Please tell me.
Water.
What is the use? What? Who is forming OH minus ions in acidic solution? It's not answering, then what is the use of teaching?
Water.
Water. You cannot speak it. That is what I want. Pranav, are you there in meeting, Pranav? Pranav is not there. Make a call to them. Nitish, are you clear? Who is forming OH minus ions in acidic solution? The ionization ionization of water. Because they will ask you MCQ, that is only. Then what you guys will answer? That is. So this is all about the acids. Now, if acids is over, then who's the second one? Base. Now, let us come to here. As we know that base will produce what? Base produce what?
OH minus ions.
Hydroxide ions again in where? Again when they are in liquid state or in hydroxide ions in where? In water. Do you understanding all of you? In water they will produce the hydroxide ions. So when an base is added to water, then the hydroxide ions, the concentration of hydroxide ions will increases or decreases? will increases or decreases? Again, same thing. Base also remember concentration. Strong bases are there, weak bases are there. So that is why very dangerous. So base also we have to add water. Add to water, not water to the base. All of you should remember. So when we keep on adding base to the water, when we are adding, keep on adding base to the water. So the concentration of OH minus ions will increases or decreases. That is what I am asking. Arya, keep on adding base to the water. The concentration of what will happen? The concentration
will increase. Decrease.
that won't decrease, it will be less, that's all. So OH minus ion, the concentration of hydroxide ions in it increases. Please all of you should remember. But the concentration of base will decrease or increases? But the concentration of
base decreases.
bases will decrease. Ions will increase, but bases will decreases. That is what you have to remember. So any kind of base, the solution formed, the basic solution will form when they dissolve in which substance, Ra? If I want to form the basic solution, with that base dissolve in what?
Water.
The basic solution formed by dissolving a base in water, so that if you observe, the basic solution will have more hydroxide ions and less of hydrogen ions. That is what you have to remember. So basic solution is forming by what? A base is dissolved in water. Basic solution contains more concentration of OH minus ions and less concentration of H plus ions. Remember. So now, if you really understand, you may answer my question. Who is forming H plus ions? That is what my question. Who is forming H plus ions? Harini? Aravind Ganpati? Who is forming H plus ions? That is what I want. Please tell me. What? Water only. The dissociation of water. Yes or no? That is what you have to remember.
Ionization of water.
So from this I can say, what is the definition of bases? The basic solutions have excess of hydroxide ions. Correct or not? Please tell me. Basic solutions have excess of what?
OH minus ions.
Hydroxide ions. That is what you have to remember. So even though the basic solutions have hydrogen ions, in which they come from where? Again there are ionization of water. That is what you have to remember. Note. In basic solutions, write it. In basic solutions, H plus ions concentration is less, but they are forming by ionization of water. Ionization of what?
Water.
Ionization of water. Please remember, ionization of water. That is what you have to remember. So whose concentration is more in basic solutions? Dina? Arvind?
OH minus ions is more.
That is. Pranav is not there and Pranita is also not there. Yalini, Jesse, please call to Pranita. That is what about it. Have you understand this one? So now what is base and what is acid? Are you clear? pH values. Understand or not? Because I have not taught you till now pH scale, but you have to understand these two things: strength of an acid and strength of an base. So based upon this point only, we are going to now introduce another kind of scale called as a pH scale, which is easily identifying a given substance or given aqueous solution is an acid solution or base solution, or else it is a neutral substance. So now shall we start it? Yes or no? So now, if you'll observe from this discussion, let me see. All my children are intelligent only. I know that. From this solution till now, all you guys are studied. Acid means H plus ions, bases means OH minus ion. But from this discussion, you guys can conclude something. Acids and bases both contains water. Both contains what?
Water.
What?
Water.
Both contains H plus ions and as well as OH ions.
OH minus.
That is what you have to remember. So from this we can make what is the final point? Both acidic as well as basic solutions contains hydrogen ions and as well as
Hydrogen ions and
OH minus
hydroxide ions.
ions. That is what you have to remember. So from this only in 1996, all of you should remember. So from this observation during the year, which year? 1990. Do you understanding? Sorensen. What's his name? What's his name? Sorensen. Do you understand? Please remember that. What's his name? The scientist name? Sorensen. Understand? Sorensen devised a scale. Devised a scale like a measuring acid and base. Understand? Devised a scale known as, what is that scale known as? Devised a scale on which, write it, on which devised a scale 1919. Understanding? In 1919, a Sorensen devised a scale on which the strength of acid solutions, as well as basic solutions could be represented, as we know that pH scale is only represented based on what? Forget about OH minus ions. Only pH scale is designed with the help of what? Only H plus ions. All of you should remember pH scale is designed only with the help of H plus ions. So if H plus ions is decreasing, means who is increasing? Who is increasing?
OH ions.
Minus ions. That is what you have to remember. So Sorensen devised a scale on which the strength of an acid solutions as well as basic solutions, which could be represented by making use of hydrogen ion concentration. Please remember, represented by making only one thing, by making use of the water, by making use of the hydrogen ions. So pH scale is designed with the help of what? Hydroxide ions or hydrogen ions? One MCQ.
H plus ions.
H plus
Hydrogen ion.
hydrogen ion concentration in them. So based upon that only it has been designed. Concentration in them, it has been designed. All of you should remember. So this is the scale. What is this scale called as? This scale is only called as pH scale. What we should call? pH scale. So MCQ they will ask you like pH scale is designed based on concentration of H plus ions, concentration of OH minus ions, or concentration of H plus ions in only acids, concentration of OH minus ions in only bases. So what you guys will say? Concentration of H plus ions, both acid as well as
Base.
acids as well as
Acidic solution as well as basic
that is
solution.
what you have to remember. So that is only we should call it as pH scale. So all of you should remember pH scale means, so the pH of a solution, remember all of you, pH scale is known as power of hydrogen. What we should call? Power
Power
of
of hydrogen.
hydrogen means how much concentration the given solution is. If it is more amount of hydrogen, more acetic acid. If more amount of OH minus ions, it is called as basic in nature. Do you understand, all of you? Means less amount of H plus ions, basic in nature. More amount of H plus ions, acidic in nature. Any doubt, anybody, you can ask me, please. Okay. Yes or no? So now you observe very carefully. This Sorensen linked to the hydrogen ions concentration of acid and as well as base solution to the simple number. That is what we should call it as pH scale. Just he has been given a number, the pH scale. pH scale, he has been given the number from 0 to 14. So what is the range of pH scale, Ra? All of you should tell me. What is the
0 to 14.
0 to 14.
is from 0 to 14 on pH scale. All of you should remember. Now, here, let me take some pH scale. Basically, I will draw later, I will show you. So, like our general scale, if you'll observe, let me imagine this is the pH scale means, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, and as well as, let me take one more, 14. Now, if you'll observe, he has been designed like this. All of you should remember, if pH values keep on increasing, I should not say, but I'm saying you listen, all of you. This pH scale is, pH values keep on increasing. All of you should remember, the power of concentration, the concentration of hydrogen ions is decreasing. What is that? The hydrogen, the power of hydrogen ions is decreasing. All of you should remember, very, very important MCQ question. So, what I'm saying, can anybody say? If the pH values keep on increasing, the power of hydrogen ions, what will happen, Rafina?
Will decrease.
Power of hydrogen ions will keep on decreasing. Understand, Humaira? Humaira, you have to respond me. So, if the pH value is keep on increasing means from 0 to 14. So, the power of hydrogen ions will, what will happen, Ra? Keep on decreasing. That is what you have to remember. H plus ion concentration of H plus ions will decreases. That is what you have to remember. Increases, it will be keep on decreasing. So please note this point. Draw the diagram, small 0 to 14, and you have to write pH value is increasing. Concentration of H plus ions will decreases or increases, Arvind? Akil Arfan?
Yes.
So from this I can say, note, very, very important MCQ question. Now, what is that point means? Write it. The pH solution, the pH of a solution, the pH of a solution is directly or inversely proportional, Ra? Anybody?
Inversely proportional.
Sir,
Inversely
inversely proportional.
proportional.
Plus ions.
Understand, Arun Karthikeyan, no response. Inversely proportional. Understanding? Inversely proportional to the, for what, Ra? Arun Karthikeyan, inversely proportional to the concentration of
H plus ions.
concentration of H plus ions. Please note it down. Very, very important. After drawing this diagram only, you have to draw. Please write it. This is pH scale. Here I am giving basic scale. Later I will give you the colors also. No issues. You draw generally. Okay. This is pH scale. So pH values keep on increasing from left to right. The concentration of H plus ions will decrease. Both are inversely proportional to the each other. That is what you have to remember. So a solution having high concentration of H plus ions. So having what pH? Low pH or more pH? Anybody? Low pH or more pH?
Low pH.
Low pH. What you have to
pH.
remember. First point, write it. A solution having high concentration of, because everything is MCQ, high concentration, a solution having high concentration of hydrogen ions has a low pH value. What is that?
Low pH value.
Low
Low
pH value.
pH value.
Statement I don't want to say. You guys can remember it. What is the opposite statement? Anybody? What is the opposite statement? Solo. What is the opposite statement, Ra? A
A
solution.
solution having low concentration of hydrogen ions has high pH value.
pH value.
That is you guys to remember. Now, that is what you have to remember it. So, will you able to remember this point or not? Opposite point, you can write it. Now, pH value. So, pH value. So, what do you mean by P indicate here? All of you should remember. P stands for a German called as potence. Potence. Please, this is a German word. This is also very, very important. What is this word called as? A German word. Understand, Ra? A German word known as potence. Potence means power. What is that? Potence. Power. Remember, because he's a German scientist. That is, understand, potence, power, and H letter stand. H stands for power. P
Hydrogen.
stands for potence. H stands for hydrogen ions. Understand, Ra?
Sir,
Hydro.
pH value only for acid only, sir.
Yes. Andra, what, Ra?
Sir, pH value is only acid. Acid
That
only.
is what I said, Ray, Karthikeyan. That is what I said. Both bases also having H plus ions, correct or not? Yes or no? Acid as well as bases both having H plus ions. The pH scale is designed for both, but it is designed with the help of only H plus ions. If H plus ions concentration is decreasing means whose concentration is increasing? OH minus ion concentration is increasing. That is what you have to remember. Is it okay?
Okay.
Understand, Karthikeyan? I should not say that point. You have to remember. Okay, that is also very good. You said me. Write it. H indicating what? Hydrogen ions concentration. Understand? Or else I can say H plus ions. Or I can say hydronium ions. Everything. Please write it. Oh, very good, Karthikeyan. Because of you, I will write that point also.